What's up, everybody? You're very welcome along to tonight's late night agenda. As you can see, tonight's show is being brought to you in association with our good friends over at Manscaped. Don't forget, you can visit manscaped.com and use our code WFM20 to get yourself absolutely 20% off anything on the website. Go over there, check it out. Maybe you've got something you want to trim yourself. Maybe you've got a loved one that you think could do with a little bit of a trimming. I don't know, but either way, ladies and gentlemen, as I said, I will play the ad in a minute because I know a lot of people are going to want the ad. I like the ad. We'll play it in a minute, but make sure to get yourselves over to manscaped.com and use our code WFM20. Manscaped are going to be, from August onwards, sponsoring all of our news videos here on Anfield Agenda. So yeah, get yourselves over there and your balls will thank you later. And they really will. I mean, I wake up on a daily basis and the first thing I hear are my balls screaming at me going, Craig. And I said, what? And they said, thanks a million, mate. And I said, look, I've got you covered. Don't forget the anti-chafing deodorant. And they said, Craig, we wouldn't have it any other way, mate. Do you know what I mean? And when you've got these Irish Lee roadie like I have, you have to get it done. So look, let's just welcome the little Manscaped ad and then we'll get stuck into the transfer news. So everybody that's looking forward to it, it's been a while. I like watching it as well. 3, 2, 1. This Anfield Agenda show has been brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below the waist grooming. When you're a follically challenged man like myself on the top of the head, you want to make sure that you take care of yourself below. If you haven't tried their Lawnmower 3.0 electric trimmer, you've been missing out. Their third generation trimmer features a cutting edge ceramic blade to keep your nuts as smooth as my head. The battery alone lasts up to 90 minutes, unlike most of us. The kit also includes crop preserver, otherwise known as their ball deodorant. Yes folks, I did say ball deodorant. It also comes with crop reviver, Manscaped's own ball toner. Sick of saggy balls? Use their ball toner and those days will be gone. They even added their shed travel bag and anti-chafing boxer briefs to complement not only their perfect package 3.0 but your perfect package as well. Let's get that bush to tush clean so you can be prepared at all times. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code WFM20 at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. Use our code WFM20. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Get yourselves over to manscaped.com. Use our code WFM20. Get yourself 20% off anything on the website. Doesn't matter if it's on sale or not. Our code will get you that 20% off. And as the ad said, your balls will thank you later. Look, let's get stuck into it tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Loads of stuff to get through. Isn't the name cool, by the way? The lawnmower, the shed, real proper man stuff, that is. And do you know what? Hand on heart, I'm not even joking when I say this. My missus nicked my one. She uses it. That's how good it is. The missus said, do you think you're having that fella? Nicked it. It's gone. Right, ladies and gentlemen, look, what do we want to talk about tonight? Let's, I've got loads of stuff ready to go. So I did reach out to my friend in Spain and I did hear back. So let's start off with the Saul stuff, shall we? I know a lot of people that follow Fabrizio Romano will be looking around the Saul news. So let's start off with Saul. So last night I said to you that I didn't know how Barcelona could potentially afford to get this deal over the line. Today, I know. So what's going to happen is it looks like Diego Simeone wants Antoine Griezmann back at Atleti. Atleti fans, of course, as you can understand, are a little bit against it. And as things stand, it's a deal that looks like it could well happen. At least my source in Spain has told me that it's certainly been widely reported over there and looking most likely to happen. Now, there have been some reports to say that Liverpool are waiting in the wings to see what happens, which, look, let's be honest, to hear the phrase waiting in the wings to see what happens when we're dealing with a club that's financially crippled like Barcelona, it's either horseshit or it's small club mentality, and I like to think it's poo-poo, ladies and gentlemen, because, look, so let me explain the situation. Barcelona need to free up a load of wages, they need to free up a load of money. We can talk about the Lionel Messi contract situation. The news there is that he's agreed a 5-year deal with Barcelona, taking a 50% wage cut. Now, the reason it's going to be a 5-year deal is seemingly that he'll do 2 years in La Liga with Barcelona and then probably go off to the MLS or elsewhere, and Barcelona will continue to pay his wages while he's over there. And the 5th year, I suppose, is just a little bonus to make up for the fact he's taken a 50% cut. So that looks like how they'll get the Barcelona deal with Messi sorted. Now, we move on to why would they get rid of Antoine Griezmann? Well, if they were to move Antoine Griezmann to Atletico de Madrid and Saul came the other way, it would work out over the course of the contract, probably saving Barcelona around 12 million euro in wages. So a deal that last night I couldn't give you any information on. I had a hunch on it, but my hunches, are just that. So I did reach out to my friend in Spain. He did get back to me today, and that looks like it's a deal that could well happen. So I think, in all probability, we can scratch his name off the list. So that midfielder list seems to be getting a little bit smaller as the days and weeks go by. But we do also know that midfield isn't the first position Liverpool are looking to strengthen in. It's been well documented that an attacking wide area is the first position that we want to strengthen in this window. But let me just kind of go full circle on this now. I'm getting a pain in my Swiss roll right now with Liverpool almost openly being mocked around Europe, and certainly in the Premier League, as a club that constantly has no money. And look, people will try and defend the owners, and I have defended the owners. I have spoken up for the good things that they've done, but it's at a point now where we're all scratching our heads going, where's the money, John? Where's the money? Because look, let's be realistic about it. Clubs are out there right now showing ambition. We're going to be told it's because of the impact that COVID had. Well, look, surely COVID had the same impact on Liverpool as it did on most other top Premier League clubs. We've also heard that impact from COVID was supposed to have been helped with the sale of 10% of FSG's overall holdings to what's the guy's name again? Jerry Cardinal and his group that bought into that 10% for 500 and something million pound. So look, I never expected the 500 and something million pound to be used to go and sign players for Liverpool. I was always aware that Liverpool or FSG's plan was to add more clubs to their roster of clubs, or whatever way you want to call it, by themselves, maybe an NHL team, something like that, get a feeder club in Europe. I mean, we always knew that was probably part of the plan. But we also heard that some of that money would be used to cover the losses. So how can we be told that in one sentence and then constantly be told we have no money? We're building towards this. Let me just play a little game with everybody. How many times have you guys read an article over the past 2 to 3 years that said Liverpool have been very cautious with their money in case a generational talent becomes available in the future? Fast forward to now, we're looking at a situation where Mbappe is available this summer most likely. We know that Haaland for the right price. Now look, it is a whole lot of money and he will be cheaper next summer, but we still know we won't be in from next summer. We've missed out on other players as well. We've missed out on the likes of Kai Havertz, Christian Pulisic, Timo Werner, and you can't tell us that we're a club with money and then constantly go around bitching and moaning that we're broke. You can't tell us that we can compete with the big clubs in Europe and then not do it. So there's two sides to this argument. There's the people like me who are, I suppose, now moving towards the actor shut the hell up John W. Henry. And then there's the other side of the argument that say, look, they've done good things. We've won the Premier League. We've won a European Cup, a Club World Cup. We've won the UEFA Super Cup. We've got in some great players. We've transformed the squad. And we have done those things. I will not sit here like an idiot and argue against the fact that we have done some really, really good things. But that's in spite of our owners, as far as I'm concerned, not because of our owners. Yes, Michael Edwards was a great addition. Yes, Jurgen Klopp and his scouts have had really good eye for talent. And yes, Michael Edwards has moved on players for rather large sums of money. But at the end of the day, we shit the bed last season. We didn't replace Dejan Lovren. We were so fortunate that we got back into the Champions League. Only for Alisson's header and the lads really knuckling down at the end of the season. Nat Phillips stepping up and some really big performances got us over the line and just about over the line. So going into this season, we cannot accept and cannot hear again that we have no money. It just doesn't wash. You can't tell us every year we've got the second highest wage bill. You can't tell us we pay out X amount in agents' fees when then we see other clubs, like right now, Spurs are looking at a deal potentially to bring Jules Koundé in there. Manchester United have gone and got Jadon Sancho over the line and they're looking to get Rafael Varane. Chelsea are trying to get Erling Haaland over the line. Manchester City are talking about the likes of Harry Kane and Jack Grealish. Now, we're already in a position where even with our strongest 11, we're definitely able to compete. Nobody will deny that. Put our strongest 11 on paper, it's as good as anybody's in the Premier League. But if, heaven forbid, we picked up some more injuries, or with the amount of sheer volume of games we're going to have to play, with the AFCON and all that other stuff thrown in on top of it, we don't have a depth of squad that's good enough to challenge on all four fronts. And we should be a club that wants to challenge on all four fronts. I mean, the fact that we don't really do well in the domestic cups has been something that I guess I've probably let slide as a fan more than I should in recent years. And I do believe that Klopp puts out a team that he thinks can get the job done. And I'm not aiming any of this at the manager, because he has to manage that squad throughout a very busy season. My whole point here is that the owners have to show some back into the manager. The owners have to step up and say, Jurgen, you've worked miracles, mate, with Michael Edwards. We're very grateful that you've gotten us to the point that we are, but we want prolonged success. We don't want to win one Premier League title. We want to win a lot of Premier League titles. We don't want to win one Champions League. We want this group to go on and succeed. So rather than crying poor mouth every single summer and telling us we're broke, how about just rolling the dice once? How about just actually putting your hand in your pocket and going out and getting a player or two that will really help Jurgen Klopp? And look, I've no doubt we'll sign a midfielder. I've no doubt we'll sign an attacker. But will it be somebody like Jadon Sancho? Will it be Yuri Tielemans? Well, we know it won't be Jadon Sancho because he's gone to Manchester United. Will it be Yuri Tielemans? We'll get on to that a little bit later on in the show. What I'm saying here is I'm very grateful for the good things that they've done. But the European Super League was the last straw for a lot of us Liverpool fans with regards to any trust that we had in the owners. As I said, I'm not ignorant enough to sit here and say they haven't done good things. Of course they have. And I want to give every owner of Liverpool Football Club the benefit of the doubt, because I'm a fan that wants the club to succeed. But my gut feeling right now is that we're succeeding in spite of our owners and not because of our owners. I think that Jurgen Klopp's brilliance is masking a lot of what FSG have done. And to me, I don't want any more excuses. I want the manager to be backed. Yes, the manager is diplomatic. The manager will come out and say we can only do these things in the window. We can only do what we can. But you can't tell us that we've got record commercial partners, that we've got record shirt sales, television money, Champions League winning money, all of this stuff, and then just tell us we're poor. It doesn't add up. And with regards to the wage thing, that genuinely does baffle me. Because David De Gea is on about 350 grand a week at United. We hear players at Chelsea, at Manchester City, way more than our top earners are on. And I know that these things are done over the course of the entire squad. And I know that we might have a lot of players on the medium to high earners. So let's say 100 grand plus. But it's really getting old now. It really is getting old. Like, do you really want your tenure of Liverpool Football Club to be remembered for one Premier League title? And the Champions League that was magnificent, and that was down to those boys wanting to put right a wrong from the season before, and that heartache of a loss to Real Madrid. I'm just getting fed up of it. Just either tell us we're piss poor and stop trying to hype us up, or put your hand in your pockets and roll the dice and give the manager what he wants, because he deserves it. We want to end Jurgen Klopp's reign at Liverpool Football Club with a whole ton of silverware. I want all of those boys at the club to leave with the full range of medals. I want them to win the Premier League. I want them to win the Champions League, the FA Cup, the League Cup, everything possible, and have no regrets. That's my take on it. Over to you guys. I feel like we'll sign one of our players this summer and then FSG will piss about for a while. Yeah, that's the feeling I get as well. So, the general consensus seems to be that we need to move on a lot of players. You look at your Origis, your Shakiris, your Wilsons, your Grujic, maybe Nico Williams, Nat Phillips perhaps, and a few others. There's a few other fringe players, Ben Woodburn, and a few others around the edge of the squad that Liverpool could probably do with moving on, and would move on if the right offers come in. And that's sound. I mean, nobody's arguing against getting rid of players that aren't good enough. But when it comes with the fact that we're not replacing them with enough squad depth, that we're looking at, one midfielder and one attacking player, that's the MO that's being put out there, it's very worrying, because we were cut short last season, and I was as naive as anybody. I thought, okay, we didn't replace Dejan Lovren, but we brought in Thiago and we brought in Diogo Jota. Two excellent signings. And again, is it the way we go about it, I wonder? Because we do... You know, I'm not an accountant, but I do get the basic gist of amortization over the course of contracts, but we pay a lot over the course of the deal and very little up front. That seems to be the way Liverpool like to do business. Now, does that mean that we do that to the detriment of having future cash flow? I don't know. I don't understand football economics well enough to give you that argument. But what I do know is I'm sick of hearing the same shit season after season, year after year. And for those that want to defend their owners and say, but we signed Alisson and we signed Van Dijk. We did. But we also know where the money came from, don't we? We know that Felipe Coutinho basically funded those deals. None of us will ever know why the Nabil Fekir transfer didn't happen. You know, some people think it's because he wanted his brother to come, others think it's because of his knee, but for whatever reason it didn't happen. Then we've got the treatment of Gini Wijnaldum. Gini, who everybody wanted to stay at the club. It seems like the coaching staff and the manager wanted him to stay at the club, but for whatever reason he wasn't given a new deal, and look, now he's gone to Paris Saint-Germain, and you know, will probably do quite well over there. So there are all these factors that add up, and it just doesn't smell right to me. And then you've got, of course, the fact that the Super League was done behind everybody's back. No supporters groups were talked to about it, nothing. Just bang, done, and here we go, there's the announcement, fuck you, basically, is what we all got from the owner. So at this point, ladies and gentlemen, I am pro Jurgen Klopp, pro Liverpool Football Club, and anti anything to do with John W. Henry and FSG. That's my stance right now. And do you know what? As I said when the Super League happened, there was no coming back for me. There was no coming back for me with the owners. And look, who am I? I'm just a gobby lad from Ireland that probably has no influence on anything around. Actually, I know I've got no influence on anything around Liverpool Football Club. But what I do have is a platform to share my views. And I think I speak for a good few Liverpool fans when I say, put up or shut up. We are thankful for the good things that you've done, but we are a club that wants success. Now, when we see other clubs like Leicester City closing the gap between us, Everton closing the gap between us, all those other clubs in and around us, Spurs looking to sell their naming rights, which will of course add to their revenue, Manchester United having already finished above us last season because of the season we had, going out and strengthening it again this year. We can't sit on our hands. We need stuff to happen. We need Jurgen Klopp to be given the tools to do the job that we know he's more than qualified to do. Right, super chat, first one of the night. Is the ball deodorant flavoured? Inquiring minds want to know. That's not a question I guess I can answer. That's not a question for me to answer, Liz. Yeah, so, you know. You know where I'm going with that, Liz. Right, what else have we got? Billy Gilmore on loan is ridiculous. Yeah, look, they're that stacked Chelsea that they can send Billy Gilmore on loan to Norwich to be able to go and develop himself. Which is a great move for him, a good move for Norwich, but that's only because they're so stacked in where they are. And look, I want to get on to talk about something else. I want to talk about this gentleman here, Ozan Kabak. So, we knew Liverpool had an option to sign Ozan Kabak for 18 million quid at the end of the season. Now, it was an option, it was not an obligation. But what do we now know? Well, we know what we've known for a while. That Schalke are really, really, really in a bad position financially. And it seems that 8.5 million quid, 8.5 million quid would have bought Kabak, but the club have said no to it because we're well stacked in the defensive positions. Now, there are people who will say to me, Craigie ain't good enough. That's fair enough. But I will say to you, if we sell Nat Phillips for 10 million quid, what harm signing Ozan Kabak, a guy who wanted to be at the club, you could clearly see it, for 8.5 million, and making a profit on what we've sold Nat Phillips for if we sell Nat Phillips? I'm baffled by it, and Leicester will probably come in and buy the lad. And then, you know, heaven forbid, we go into the season with four great first choice centre backs. If you look at Joe Matip, Virgil van Dijk, Ibrahim Konate, and Joe Gomez. Sound. Nobody has any issues with that. But people will say to me, but he'd only be fifth choice. Well, where did our fifth choice centre backs end up this season? Playing and being important roles in the team. So, again, for me, I think it's the wrong idea. You could have got this guy, loaned him out for the season, and double their money next year. I think it's short-sightedness, and I think it was the wrong decision. That's my take on it, and we'll probably see others reap the benefits of such a cheap deal for Ozan Kabak, because I think Schalke have given him a week to make his mind up, according to reports that are out there in the media. So, another one for me that absolutely baffles my mind. 8.5 million in this day and age is nothing. Kabak's only 21, loads of room to grow. Absolutely. And really, really, really wanted to play for Liverpool Football Club. And look, I've no issues. If we keep Nat Phillips as a fifth or sixth choice centre back, sound. But if we sell Nat Phillips and the opportunity to have got this kid for less money has sailed past us, I just think it's It's the height of stupidity. That's just my opinion on Ozan Kabak. You're talking there 9.5 million less than we had agreed to potentially buy him for, or had the option to potentially buy him for. Even in Michael Edwards' world of magnificence, that is a whole lot of money cheaper. Kabak is so unlucky. He is very unlucky. I mean, he picked up an injury towards the end, an important part of the season, and it was unlucky for him. And we do have Ben Davies as well, who, look, is kind of the great unknown for us at this moment in time. People are saying buy Vestergaard. Look, if we won't pony up 8.5 million quid for Ozan Kabak, we ain't going to go to Southampton and pay them the money for Vestergaard. Plus, look, again, as I said, the 4 centre-backs that we have, senior ones at the club right now, we're all happy with. Joel Matip, we do have injury concerns there. Joe Gomez and Virgil van Dijk both coming back from a long time off with injuries. And Ibrahim Konate had a serious injury of his own that took a good while to come back from. But, going into the season with those 4, that's great. But, I thought that was great last summer, and we've seen what happened. You never know what might happen in football. And you'd like to think that we've learned lessons. Craig, they'll know all about it if Klopp walked away from the club. Look, see, I don't think that's this weird, mate, because I'm going to say to you, William, that's almost part of the problem. And by that I mean the fact that Klopp is so loyal, the fact that Jurgen Klopp doesn't walk away from contracts, and the fact that he is signed up to 2024 and is committed to us as fans, those players, that's part of the issue, which is really horrible to say, because his brilliance is probably masking what we're lacking from our owners at times. Getting him in the door was an absolute masterstroke. Right man, right time, perfect fella to lead the club back to success. But we want prolonged success. We don't want to be one-hit wonders. We don't want one Premier League title and then we don't need to wait another 10, 15, 30 years for another one. So, we want an assault on the Premier League title again. And our first 11, of course, are more than capable of doing that. But where we'll fall off over the course of the season is with the backup or the lack of depth in the squad. We've already spoken about the fact that when one of the front 3 or 4 are injured, it's Origi or Shaqiri. That's a big drop off. Now we've got young Harvey Elliott coming in, who, look, great talent, no doubt about that. But again, a lot of pressure on those young shoulders if he is to come in and replace the likes of a Mohamed Salah, Sadio Mane in a very, very big game. Yes, we've got Musialowski, but again, only 18 years of age, probably not ready for the first team just yet. And Curtis Jones will be somebody who I think in midfield will make another stride forward this season. Bradley Fricker said, did you see Suarez on the kit reveal on LFC Instagram? Not saying he's coming, but makes you wonder why the club would still have an old board of him. I think I could be wrong on that. I did see the image you're speaking about, Brad, by the way. Yeah, definitely did see that. But I think wasn't there a Dalglish image as well with a 7? Now, if we're to use Luis Suarez's own words, he's going to stay at Atletico. But if they bring back Antoine Griezmann, they've got João Felix, obviously, who can play in the role behind. You're wondering, okay, is there room in the squad there for Luis Suarez? Will he get enough game time at Atleti? So his own words were that he feels the love at Atletico Madrid. He's got 1 year left on his contract. And look, if you're asking me would I have Luis Suarez for 1 year as a backup off the bench, even though I will openly admit he ain't anywhere near the player that he used to be, you bet your ass I would, because he's a winner and I like winners. And we've seen obviously with Thiago Silva at Chelsea and other people who have gone on short-term stints that you can do well by bringing in leadership like that. You can do well by bringing in that winning, strong mentality like that. So I've got no idea what it means or if it means anything, mate. But, it would also be quite harsh on James Milner to... I was going to say James Pearce there. Be quite harsh on James Milner to strip the number 7 off him, wouldn't it? For a one season where James Milner has performed heroically on and off the pitch for Liverpool Football Club in the time that he's been here, covered at left back, covered in midfield, done a lot of great work and has brought that steely mentality that we've needed to get over the line and win some competitions. You brought VVD and look how he turned out. I don't know what that's about there, buddy. We bought VVD and he's been amazing. So yeah, we spent big money and it's been brilliant. So yeah, no argument on that one. Any update on Big Milner's contract? I don't think that there needs to be an update. As far as I'm aware, he's got at least another year to run on his deal. And I'd say that'll be something that, Milner and the manager will discuss as the season plays out and we see how involved James Milner is. Now, what we do know is Klopp obviously loves Jimmy Milner. I love Jimmy Milner. You love Jimmy Milner. But if James Milner did say to Klopp at the end of the year, look, I want to go off and I want to play a year elsewhere, none of us will stand in his way. We'd all just say, thank you, James Milner. Hope to see you back at the club in a coaching capacity someday and go do whatever you want to do. Because, look, have you seen the man in training? He's still a machine. He's still the standard for people with regards to how to treat yourself and your body as a professional footballer. Top 3 youngsters in the Premier League. I mean, that's a very hard thing to say. I mean, we go with what's a youngster. I mean, look, there's a lot of great talent in the Premier League. We've got, obviously, Mount, Sancho, Foden, Curtis Jones, Greenwood, Saka. I mean, the list is on and on and on and continues to go on because, the league has Harvey Elliott. The league has a lot of great talent in it. So, I wouldn't be able to give you just 3, to be honest, because we're lucky in the Premier League to have a load of good players coming through at a lot of different clubs. When you think we took Ricky Lambert but could turn our noses up at Suarez or Coutinho, Craig, it shows how far we've come. On that one, Bernadette, the Coutinho thing, how can I say this without... My belief on the Coutinho thing is that Klopp wouldn't have him back. That's my belief. From somewhat of a position of knowledge on the scenario. The Suarez thing, I won't even tell you what happened when I spoke to my guy in Spain about Luis Suarez, because it was quite a funny answer, but there you go. Right, I've got more stuff I want to get through, by the way. So this gentleman, Youri Tielemans, I know that you guys are wanting to talk about him, and so am I, but there is a piece put out today, an article in the Telegraph from John Percy that says Leicester City will continue contract talks with Youri Tielemans on his return from holiday after Belgium's Euro 2020 campaign. Tielemans is not a target for Liverpool this summer. Will be a huge fee. Liverpool likely to recruit players outside the Premier League. Now, does that come as a shock to me? No. Do I know that it's a definitive we are definitely not interested in him? No, I wouldn't go that far either. What I've said and what I've always felt around this situation is that the midfield scenario will be something that will be probably sorted late in the window. I will be the first one to admit that I do think that we need cover elsewhere before midfield. On paper, our midfield looks rather stacked. And with Thiago going to have more of an impact this season as well, it looks okay. But this is where I think moving those fringe players on will come back to benefit us. Now, there is a reasoning behind looking outside the Premier League for players, and we know what it is. Money, because they'll be cheaper. You can understand that as well. But we have looked at Youri Tielemans for a while. There is no dispute over the fact that Leicester City have offered him a new deal. And, he could be very happy at Leicester City. Certainly Leicester City fans hope that he signs a new deal, and you can understand why. So, this kind of makes sense to me. But if Tielemans isn't the answer, if Neuhaus is going to go to Bayern Munich in a year's time, if Saul is going to go to Barcelona, we're running out of midfielders. You're leaving yourself then with a possible Ronaldo Sanchez thing late in the window, where we probably try and do a cut price deal there with Lille, or maybe a name that we haven't spoken about. There's young Gravenberch from Ajax and a few others, but again, it's not screaming big club mentality, is it? It's not screaming go out there and get the player that's going to transform the team and push us forward. Because, okay, Tielemans will probably be about 60 million quid, there or thereabouts. And it's not an insignificant amount of money. But if we do sell those players that we've spoken about before, and before anybody comes back at me about the Konate stuff, by the way, and says we've just signed Konate, as far as I'm concerned, that was last summer signing, because they shit the bed by not replacing Dejan Lovren. So in my head, we're already playing catch up on that one. That's just me though. That's just the way I think about it. So for me, this summer we're almost starting from scratch. Now, I absolutely love the fact that we signed Konate, and you know he's going to be a great player, and I think it'll be an incredible piece of business in the course of the future. And we look back at the signing and what we paid for him, I think it looked like small money, so no complaints on that one. But I don't want it to be an excuse as to why we don't go out and do business this summer. We do know we're going to lose some of the boys to the AFCON. Yes, it's only going to be 2 Premier League games and a couple of domestic cup games, but you know this isn't accounting for injuries and stuff like that as well. So I don't know what the story is with Tielemans. Obviously, this gentleman who writes for, was it the Telegraph? Yes, John Percy. Look, he'll have looked into this situation. Very good contacts in the Midlands as well, I believe. So wait and see on this one. But, you know, to me, whoever the midfielder is going to be that comes into the club, and I do believe we'll sign one this summer, I think it will be a late addition. And again, that could be okay. Because yes, might take them time to get up to speed, but you know we have started the season. We're going to have quite a decent set of midfielders. I mean, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain hopefully can stay fit. Hendo's in there, Thiago's in there, Fabinho's in there, Milner's in there, Curtis Jones is in there. Naby Keita's there if he can stay fit. So fingers crossed, we do get a midfielder over the line. But again, we're talking about being cheapskates, aren't we? We're talking about, well, we'll look abroad because there's, you know, better value there. Well, sometimes that's okay. But sometimes you want to take the best players from the Premier League because they've proven they can do it in the league that we compete in, week in and week out. So I'm kind of not surprised on this one because I didn't really think we were going to sign Youri Tielemans. I'd hoped because he's a fine footballer and he's 24 years of age, right age bracket, but it doesn't surprise me in the least that we're cheapskating our way around it again. And if, you know, we'll probably look at a situation where we may end up at the end of the summer with somebody looking for somebody like Renato Sanchez and offering 25 million euro because, well, look, that's the way things seem to be, which is a little bit embarrassing. So yeah, we move. Hi Craig, Leicester fan here. What do you think of our transfer business? It's exquisite, Jay. You know, Leicester's transfer business over the past few years has been very, very, very good. You know, I think you'll probably bring in Kabak, which I think will be a bargain. You replace Harry Maguire with Soyuncu, who's a very good player. You've brought in some excellent youngsters, even this summer, the business you've done. Got Ryan Bertrand in on, I know there's no such thing as a free, but he'd left Southampton, you brought him in. So, you know, as a neutral, looking at Leicester, I think you're the envy of a lot of clubs, not a lot of fans, not just because of your transfer business and the way it's being done, but because of the way your owners act and the way they treat the fans. So, you know, I think a lot of us have nothing but respect for Leicester City, and I don't think you'll make Champions League this year. Genuinely don't. I think the 4 clubs that made it this year will pull away a bit, but I think Leicester probably are the best of the rest. I heard we're on to Barella. Is this true? See, I've learned, folks. I've got it right this time, Barella. Is it true? I would suggest no. I mean, if we look at what I just said from that article that gentleman spoke about, we're looking to Europe. Why are we looking to Europe? Because it's cheaper. Well, Nicola Barella is not going to be cheaper because Inter Milan know that they've got an absolutely fantastic player on their hands, and they know that loads of top clubs around Europe will come sniffing for this kid, and they know that he's had a great Euros, and they've sort of sorted out their financial issues by selling Hakimi to PSG, so they're not under as much pressure. And by the way, have you seen the new Inter Milan home kit? It's damn good. It's, you know, pretty damn good, that snakeskin home kit. So yeah, Nicola Barella would be somebody who I'd have in a heartbeat. But yeah, it's not going to happen. So this is, yeah, and look, you know, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but unfortunately the bad news is going to keep coming here, ladies and gentlemen. Hey Craig, love your content in your channel. Have I considered doing a phone in? Yes and no. We find that people talk a good game, but when it comes time to actually phone in, they get a bit nervous and we don't get the type of content that we'd hope for. And by that I don't mean like, I don't want people to be coming in and causing like scenes or anything, but I just think people get a little bit nervous. So what I will say is, before I get on to the last couple of bits of news for tonight, I have lined up a few big interviews to kick off Craig Station, which is going to be my personal channel. Just search Craig Station CraigStation on YouTube, and I've got a couple of good interviews coming up. I'm trying to get 3 or 4 in the bag before we launch the channel. You won't be disappointed. That's all I'm going to say. It is not a sports channel. It is not a gaming channel. The channel is whatever we want it to be, whatever you want it to be. That's the beauty of it. So keep an eye out, because there's going to be some class interviews with some really funny people coming up on the channel. I hope that you'll enjoy it. I know that you'll enjoy it, because the people are going to be top notch. So again, thank you for your support on there. It continues to grow. It's heading towards 24k, so please do go over and subscribe to it. And again, don't forget about Manscaped. Visit manscaped.com, get yourselves 20% off with WFM20. Right, we keep going though. The last piece of, I feel like a bit of a bad news bearer today. So, what I've been telling you for a while now looks like it's about to come to fruition. It's looking more and more like Daniel Malen is going to find his way to Borussia Dortmund. And it's all part of the Raiola chess piece game, if you want to call it that. Move a player into a club, move him around Europe, give him 2 years at one club, move him on elsewhere, he gets a payday, player gets a payday, club makes a profit, everybody wins. Now, here's what baffles me. So, we were told that Raiola was looking for 100 grand a week for Daniel Malen to come to Liverpool. Or, let's just say he was looking for 100 grand a week regardless. I very, 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 very much struggle to believe that Dortmund are going to pay him 100 grand a week. Now, I could be way off the money here, but my instincts tell me that he's not going to get 100 grand a week at Dortmund. Now, I've been trying to say to you guys for ages that this looks like it's a deal that's going to happen, because it made sense from the Raiola perspective way of looking at things. And look, I'm always happy when we don't have to deal with Raiola at Liverpool Football Club, because of the reasons any club that deals with him will tell you, or any set of fans. I mean, speak to United fans about him and Paul Pogba and they'll tell you the same thing. He likes to put a player in, and he likes big paydays all around. He likes to kick up a fuss. He likes to threaten the player to leave the club, and that's kind of not what we like to do at Liverpool. We like stability, and we like players to be there 5-6 years or whatever like that. So, nothing is absolutely done and dusted yet, but it's looking very, 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 very likely that Daniel Malen will end up at Borussia Dortmund, and in a year or two's time will go on, probably move elsewhere for a pretty big fee if he's a hit there. So again, yeah, there you go. That's another bit of that ain't gonna happen news for you. Craig, that Inter kit is awful. I love it. I think it's absolutely magnificent. It is one of the nicest kits I've seen this year. I mean, if you want to see an awful Nike kit, to tend to look at the Barcelona kit, because that is an absolute disgrace of a kit. Is Craig Station a vlog channel? No, it's not an anything channel, Marissa. It's a channel of whatever we want it to be. And I don't mean that to be smart arse. I mean, genuinely, whatever you guys want me to do, we'll do. We'll have fun. I want it to be an uplifting, positive, fun channel. That's about the only parameters I have for it. What have we got? LFC4L said Barella, Camavinga, Gravenberch. Right, so Barella, I think we'd all have him. I think there's no argument there, buddy. Camavinga will probably go to Paris Saint-Germain. United are also interested. Arsenal, well, they tried to be interested, I think. So look, Camavinga was never going to come to Liverpool. I still think he'll end up at PSG. I've been saying that for a good while. Gravenberch is somebody who Liverpool have been tracking, and somebody whose name has been mentioned. I'm sure everybody knows who he is, in case you don't. His name's Ryan Gravenberch, plays for Ajax. Very good midfielder, young talent. But if we're going to bring in, you know where I'm going with this, don't you? If we're going to bring in a young midfielder, why not wait till next season and we can all go, choo, choo, choo? Because we know who the young midfielder that we want and should be going after is next year. Yes, we know it's Jude Bellingham. That's who we should be going after. But, two top quality young midfielders looking to the future wouldn't be too shabby either. So, Gravenberch is certainly a very good midfielder, and you don't play for Ajax without being a damn fine footballer, because, the Ajax Academy is famed for producing talent, and talent that plays football in a particular way. So, yeah, that's definitely one to keep an eye on. I mean, I'm not ruling it out, but, him, it's getting down to the point where the ones we know of or have been mentioned that are seemingly left are Neuhaus, who I still believe will go to Bayern Munich after one more year at Mönchengladbach. Renato Sanchez, who I can absolutely see why we'd make that signing, and could be a very good piece of business. And Gravenberch, who we've just spoken about there. Berardi, excuse me, Robert. Yeah, so again, there were links to Berardi. 26-year-old Sassuolo player, but I don't see it happening, mate. I think if we're going to sign a winger or a wide forward, I see it being somebody no older than 24. But look, you know, it's just my opinion, mate. That's all it is. So, you know, please don't take anything I say around Berardi as gospel, because, you know, I've got nothing on that. You know, if you're looking for me and where I have a little bit of input to football, or where I can reach out to people, it's Germany and Spain. They're the two countries that I would have people that I could pick up the phone and ask questions about. Italy, don't know anybody. You know, you're best sticking to Fabrizio on that one. England, well, look, I don't think the English journalists really break much these days. And what I will say, and I've always said about the English-based journalists like James Pearce, Melissa Reddy, Simon Hughes, Paul Joyce, you know, they might not be the ones to really initially break a deal so much, but you will get the best coverage of what happened and the longer version of the story from those great journalists. So, you know, please don't take this as me knocking them, because I'll be the very first one to read what Simon Hughes or Melissa Reddy or James Pearce, Paul Joyce, any of these guys write about a transfer when it comes in, because they'll tell us the background and it'll be brilliant and wonderful. So, you know, I've nothing but respect for those journalists. But these days, those leaks or those links seem to be coming from the European side. Adama Traore. Yeah, I mean, do I still have the picture of Adama, or have I deleted that one? Yeah, I deleted it yesterday. So Adama Traore would be linked with, alright, and the story goes that they want 50 million and that Liverpool are looking to test the water somewhere around 25 million. Now, for me, I'm a little bit uncertain on Adama Traore, because in bursts he can be brilliant, but is he consistent enough? There is also the question of, well, okay, maybe Klopp can make him consistent enough, but then we still have to go back to the shoulder situation, because he's dislocated that right shoulder quite a lot. I think it's his right one, but he's dislocated it somewhere 5 or 6 times over the course of a couple of seasons, from what I've read, which is why he gets greased up the way he does. You know, not only to just stop him being grabbed and pulled to the ground, but to stop him being pulled to the ground because of his shoulder. So, you know, I think he is probably available for the right price from Wolves, but I just don't know if he's the player, if that makes sense. I mean, sometimes I look at him and I think, my God, this lad is unbelievable. And other times I'll go, that end product just isn't there. The final ball just isn't there. He's running into blind alleys. But what I will say is, if he's who Klopp wanted, obviously Klopp will have figured a way for him to be used. So, you know, definitely keep an eye on it, but I wouldn't be overly confident of the Adama Traore thing. And we do, of course, have the fact that Klopp said he's unplayable on his day as well. Would I take David Neres? No. You know, his name was bandied around a couple of seasons ago when Ajax made that run to the Champions League semi-finals. He'd been linked with Everton as well at one point, but no, not for me, not at this moment in time. Love you too, Nageb. Thank you for the kind words. If we sign Berardi, I'm done with this club, said Tony. I mean, mate, nothing could make me be done with the club, to be honest with you, but I don't think you really mean done with the club. I think you mean you'd be fed up. And look, I don't think we will, to be honest, mate. It doesn't strike me as a Liverpool type of signing. Mbappe, said Kevin Doyle. Oh, 'tis the big word, Kevin, isn't it? It's the one real noodle scratcher for me of this whole transfer window, because everything else I can see a rhyme or reason to. I could see maybe Abramovich ponying up the dough to get Haaland out of Chelsea. I can see Harry Kane maybe going to Manchester City. We've seen Jadon Sancho to United. But I'm genuinely confused as to what will happen. You know, Real Madrid want to sign Kylian Mbappe. There is no denying that. PSG don't want to lose Kylian Mbappe. There's no denying that. But it seems like Kylian Mbappe's representatives have informed PSG that he ain't going to be signing a new deal. So surely PSG won't want to lose the kid on a free next year, because that would be absolutely stupidity of the highest order. You know, yeah, you could take the gamble, keep him one more year, show him with the likes of Donnarumma after coming in, Gino Wijnaldum, Mauricio Pochettino, that they can challenge, that they can win the Champions League. So there is that gamble, but it's a very, very high risk gamble. So what I've always been worried about with regards to Mbappe, you know, we've all hoped that Liverpool would sign him, but, you know, we can't afford Tielemans apparently, so we're hardly going to go out and sign Kylian Mbappe unless there is a master stroke at play here that none of us know about, and we're all going to be sitting here wolfing down humble pie by the end of the transfer window. So unless that very unlikely scenario but amazing scenario was to happen, my worry has been, well, let's say Real Madrid do find a way to tempt Kylian Mbappe to the Bernabeu. What are they going to do to replace him? Probably going to come after Mohamed Salah. And Mohamed Salah right now is in very early stages of negotiations with Liverpool, entering into the final 2 years of his contract, which makes me a very, very, very worried man. So until we either get confirmation that Mohamed Salah has signed a new deal, or we know exactly what's going to happen with Kylian Mbappe, I'm very, 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 very nervous around the whole Mohamed Salah situation, because if there's one club that can come in and throw an ungodly amount of money around and turn someone's head, it's PSG. You know, we wouldn't do business with City over them because it's a rival in the Premier League, and you'd always look, and I'm not saying City have any interest, by the way, I'm just putting a hypothetical out there, you'd always look to move a player that can come back to haunt you out of your league and abroad. So that's my worry. That has been my worry all summer around Mohamed Salah, that while we hear nothing of a final agreement of him to sign the new deal, the prospect of PSG losing Mbappe and coming in for him, particularly late in the window, could be a big headache. Now, if Kylian Mbappe was to say to PSG, I'm leaving next summer on a free if you don't sign me this summer, there is this mad hypothetical situation where there could be a part exchange deal. You know, if Salah wants to move, you know, but it's pie in the sky stuff, because we still have to figure out how on earth you afford to give the fella 400 or 500 grand a week without, one, destabilising the rest of the dressing room, and two, smashing the wage structure. So yeah, it's another one of these head scratchers for me. But that's the one thing in this whole transfer window that I can't figure out. Craig, how am I going to stream? I don't know what that means. Craig, what's up with Renato Sanchez? So, you'll read one thing that will say Liverpool are the front runners. Do I have any? Yes, I do have a Sanchez PNG here. There you go. So you'll see one thing that will tell you LFC are in pole position to sign Renato Sanchez from Lille. And then you'll see another to say that we're not and that Barcelona want him. Well, if Barcelona get Saul in, which it looks like they're going to, that could well kill off any potential interest they had in Renato Sanchez. So let's just say that there aren't any other clubs that we're aware of right now that have put in bids for Renato Sanchez. Can I see a situation where it gets to the end of the window, we've got our attacking wide player in, and we look to Renato Sanchez as somebody who we could get for about £30 million or maybe less? Yes, I can see that scenario happening. And I could see the fact that he's played with Swansea in England before. Well, I know Swansea are a Welsh club before anybody comes at me with that one, but you get where I'm going with this. Albeit, you know, did go too well for him, still does know what it takes in the Premier League. So can I see a situation where towards the end of the window Liverpool go in for Renato Sanchez? It's not unfathomable. Works on the price perspective, works on the age perspective. You know, somebody who has, I've said before, broke through at Benfica, went to Bayern, then went to Swansea, went to Lille, and has started to work his way back up. And there is peaks and troughs in a young player's career, but we've seen enough, well, I've seen enough of him with Portugal in the Euros to know that there is a player in there. And again, it could be a masterstroke from Jurgen Klopp. So, you know, all isn't lost. This is basically what I'm going to try and say to finish up this window, or this stream in a few minutes, because I know it's been a lot of we're not doing stuff this window, but, you know, let's wait and see. Sorry, Connor just sent me something else here that I have to have a look at. Yep. Okay, that's nothing to do with tonight. That's grand. Right, what else have we got? Few of your questions before we finish up tonight, ladies and gents, so keep going. Would I take Gnabry? Yes, but Bayern Munich aren't going to sell Serge Gnabry. Craig, do you at least see two of the front three? Craig, do you see at least two of the front three? I don't think... The plan is to lose none of our front three in this window. Like, the plan is to keep Firmino, to keep Sadio Mane, and to keep Mohamed Salah. Look, we know we're keeping Diogo Jota because we only just brought him into the club. So, yeah, I think the plan is definitely not to lose any of those three, unless that mad hypothetical situation with Mbappe was to come around, which is like a 1% scenario chance. Craig, opinions on Karius. My opinion is that we keep him as a second keeper. My opinion is that Queefin Kelleher is our second keeper, deserves to be our second keeper, and is twice the keeper that Loris Karius is. We can't seem to give Karius away. You know, I'm not somebody that holds what happened in the Champions League final against them. I'm somebody that has the highest of sympathy for his situation with what happened in that Champions League final. But I just think there is no coming back at Liverpool for Karius. I don't think he's mentally strong enough, and I think that any little tiny thing he did wrong, if he was to come in, you would hear the anxiety inside Anfield. So, you know, we'd seen even with the pre-season that he came back for, he's just not there. So I hope the guy goes off and has a career elsewhere. I wish him nothing but the best. I've got no bad feelings towards Karius, but Queefin Kelleher signed to become the club's number 2, and he will be the club's number 2 this season, and I'm glad so, because I think he deserves that opportunity. And am I biased because he's Irish? Yeah, probably, but I'm not going to hide from that fact. Where do I think Chiesa will go? I honestly haven't got a clue, Ben. I would just be randomly naming names. Thanks for the info, Craig. Love the show. Hey, look, there would be no show without you guys, so thank you for watching. As always, you guys are amazing. Tomorrow I will be recording, well, I'll be recording straight after this, the One Football Anfield Agenda news show, so it'll be about 12 minutes long. I'm going to record that tonight. That'll be going out tomorrow afternoon, so please do keep an eye out for that one on the channel. Again, get yourselves over to the Craig Station and subscribe there. Don't forget to get over to manscaped.com if you've got hairy nuts or just fancy having a little look around, and you can get yourself 20% off with our code WFM20, and that's even if stuff is on sale, so make sure to have a look over because there are some good offers on there at the minute. And look, I've still got a few more minutes to go through some more questions. Yeah, Schleer says, in your opinion, what club do you say is perfect for Adama Traore? And then there's a couple to say I missed your super chats. I just hadn't scrolled that far down yet. You see, sorry, I was still playing catch up from chat higher up, mate. So I hadn't quite missed it yet. I just hadn't scrolled down. And again, don't worry, buddy. I always try and get to them. What club would be perfect for Adama Traore? I think a move back to Spain would probably be great for Adama Traore. I think he'd do very well in Spain. And then there's a couple more from you saying you missed my super chat. Dude, you don't have to put in more super chats to make up for the other ones. I mean, I don't want you wasting your own money there, fella. What about Zielinski? Oh, that name, Zielinski. Do you remember there was even a picture of him with a Liverpool shirt at one time? Do you remember that? No. He did alright at Napoli. I mean, hardly, set the world alight, but, that's defo a name from the past. Thoughts on the Pedri links? I would be over the moon for Liverpool to sign Pedri from Barcelona, but this is the situation with Pedri. He's got 1 year left on his deal. That's not up for debate. What is up for debate is the 2-year extension clause that is in his contract that Barca feel they can trigger, but there seems to be some confusion around whether it has to be agreed by both sides or if one side can trigger that 2-year extension clause. Now, Barcelona are working hard to try and free up the money that they need to sort out the financial position. And Pedri is right up there with the greatest midfielders in Europe, the best young prospects in the world. Barella, him, Jude Bellingham, that other guy who spoke about earlier on, the guy who could end up at PSG, whose name I just keep forgetting because I know we're not linked to him. Would I take him? Yes, of course, in a heartbeat. He is a sensational footballer. He was brought in from Las Palmas, And he was brought in to play on the underage teams, but showed so much so quickly that not only did he get given an opportunity in the first team at Barcelona, he excelled in the first team of Barcelona and then went on and had an absolutely amazing Euros. And to think that the age that kid is right now, it's ridiculous how good he is. So, I mean, I would have him I would swim to Spain and bring him back with me. But I just think he's someone that Barcelona will do absolutely everything that they can to keep at the club. And I'm sure Messi will want to keep him there as well at Barcelona. But he is exquisite, absolutely exquisite, like the perfect midfield. I've spoke to you guys before about how I've always admired Marco Verratti and how I looked at him as almost the complete midfielder. Pedri just looks sensational. Yes, Camavinga was the player I was thinking of. Barella is 24, still relatively young though. I mean, I'm not saying he's 18, 19, but we're talking about talents in Europe right now in that position, and for me, Barella is right up there as well. But you are right, he is older than the others. Re-sign Brewster, said Oscar Murphy. Look, we know that we have an option to re-sign Ryan Brewster. Obviously, it hasn't worked out at Sheffield United for him. I exchanged a couple of messages with his father Ian the other day. I never talk about Ryan with him because I don't want to be that guy. Ian's just such a lovely lad that I like to just check in, see if he's okay with it, see if the family are doing well and all that kind of stuff. So I'll always keep an eye out for Ryan Brewster because it's one for me that just, I don't know, I would have liked to have seen him had an opportunity at Liverpool, but it is what it is at this point. I don't think Liverpool will be taking up the option to buy back Ryan Brewster. At least I've not seen anything to suggest it. Why can't I put capitals? Well, you just started it with a capital W and then had a capital I in it, so I don't know. Craig, opinions on Sanchez? I want to know, what do I think of it? It would make sense to me for a Liverpool signing. Renato Sanchez is the right type of signing that you would expect FSG and Jurgen Klopp to look at with regards to, an undoubted talent but not the finished article. Somebody who's in the right age bracket, the right price point. Obviously, Pep Linders will have had a lot of knowledge on this kid. He'll speak to and will have spoken to all of his contacts from his time in Portugal, where he worked as a coach at Sporting Lisbon. So, that one to me I can see. I could see those pieces coming together and why Liverpool would sign Renato Sanchez. And at the price that's been spoken about, I don't think it's... I wouldn't have any issues with it, put it that way. What do I think about Daniel Sturridge? For those that aren't aware what that question might mean, Danny Sturridge right now is, I don't know if to say he's on trial at, or certainly trying to prove himself to Real Mallorca at the minute. The pictures were doing the rounds of him over there going through some type of a medical check. Mallorca back in the La Liga not La Liga Santander, sorry. Is it Santander? Yeah, I don't. Smartbank is the first. They're back in the top division of Spanish football, and look, I love Danny Sturridge. I've always loved Danny Sturridge, and if Danny Sturridge can get himself back fit and playing over in Spain, do you know what? I'll watch on and hope that he does well. What happened to Konate? Nothing. Seems to have gone very quiet. And look, we haven't spoken about Doku either on tonight's stream, who is my first choice as a winger for Liverpool to go out there and sign. But Konate, yeah, I've not seen anything on Konate. I mean, there is only so many players Lille will sell, I suppose, in one window as well. But Konate did well, and another few names we haven't mentioned in the while is Otavio, who's, we were linked with from Porto, whose agent said, even though that new buyout clause kicked in on July the 1st, a €40 million deal would probably be enough to get him out of Porto. That's gone very quiet as well. But again, if we do have interest there, Pep Linders would have more than enough contacts to know if that's true or not. Or if he's good enough, I should say, excuse me. This is the reason why last time I was spamming a long time ago. Well, I don't know what you mean by that, mate. I always try to get through as many comments as I can. Sorry, mate. I don't mean to ever offend anybody if I miss a comment. How is Origi only 26, said Sean Burke. Yeah, I mean, if you remember, mate, was he 19 when we first signed him, something like that? Yeah, Santander is the first division. Smartbank is the second one. Sorry, I got confused there first. I could have just looked. No, I see. I thought I was wearing my Barca shirt now. I was going to say I could have just looked at my sleeve, but I'm wearing the LAFC shirt. So Ronaldo and Doku in this transfer window, said Verna. Do you know what, mate? Honestly, if we did end up with that being the transfer window, I'd be alright with that if we moved on some of the other players. Right, look, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be me for the night. The hour's absolutely flown by. I will, again, don't forget to check out manscaped.com, user code WFM20 for 20% off. Subscribe to Craig's Station, and what else is there? Keep an eye out for the Anfield Agenda One Football news video that will be coming out tomorrow. I'm just about to record that now, so if you didn't get a chance to watch the entire stream tonight, you'll get all the latest news compiled into one 13 minute video. That'll be out tomorrow as well. So lots of love to you guys. Take care as always. I will be back tomorrow. Lots of love.